We've been shopping for land in Alaska for years now. All right, this is a driveway on the property. And we've made some big mistakes doing it.
Austin had done an interview with somebody who lived in Alaska, and it kind of started this desire in us to move out to Alaska, to start a homestead out there.
Buying land is hard as it is. Buying land remotely when you don't live there is even harder. And if you're shopping for land in Alaska and you don't live there, you can make some really big mistakes, and we made a couple.
Speaking of mistakes, don't make the mistake of using just any deodorant off the shelf in your supermarket. This episode of Homesteady is brought to you by Laurel Mountain Soap. Laurel Mountain Soap makes a moringa deodorant that will keep you from smelling bad. What it won't do is put aluminum, phthalates, triclosan, or parabens into your body. These are all things you don't want in your body that most of the deodorants on the shelf that you're using have. Laurel Mountain deodorant doesn't have it. I was looking for a source of soap, deodorant, and skincare products for my family that didn't have any of the nasty, harsh chemicals that I worry about, and that would actually work at keeping us smelling clean and good. I found Laurel Mountain Soap at a farmer's market. They're a small, family-run company that makes everything in-house themselves. Their products are incredible. You can learn more about them at laurelmountainsoap.com, and you can get a big discount on your order using the coupon code in our description. Thank you to Laurel Mountain Soap for being a longtime partner of Homesteady and for keeping me smelling good.
Yeah, there's two types of totes here.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say this is a good time to say how we're moving. We're getting ready to move our family of 9 and our animals to Alaska.
The huge distance to get there, to check out properties. There's just not being familiar with the Alaska issues. Like, is this all swampland?
Do you know anything about permafrost?
Is there access? Wow, it's 50 acres and it's only $20,000. Well, that's because you need to take 3 flights to get there.
There is so much land you'll find online that's like really cheap, and you're like, oh man, we can do this. We can totally move here. And then you find out this land is located like 1,000 miles from any road. So hire a pilot to get you all your supplies out there.
It's beautiful, but it's just not feasible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
We did the millennial thing where we were stalking Zillow, trying to see what was in our price range, but that's not always the best way to go about it in Alaska. Finally, we got referred to the big guns, to an Alaskan realtor, 2 of them actually, to kind of split Alaska in half for us. So Northern Alaska and Southern Alaska, we were working with 2 realtors to see if they could find us some property. And as usual, realtors suck.
No offense if you're a realtor, there are good ones out there. They're just hard to find.
Yeah, so we just had to go out and look, because either the properties that were in our price range were like on a mountainside, and we're like, could we even build anything?
We're trying to
there?
look at Google Earth and figure out where is this and is it going to work?
Yeah, it was too hard to visualize and kind of understand all the complexity. We just needed to get out there, boots on the ground, to kind of understand more about Alaskan real estate.
Yeah.
I booked a flight for Austin and his dad and our oldest son to go check out the real estate in Alaska.
Actually, we didn't even tell my dad that my oldest was coming. We surprised him. He popped out of the truck.
Hello!
Oh, what are you doing here? It was like, surprise.
Trip of a lifetime.
My dad was like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
You gotta go back.
We don't have, you can't just sneak onto a plane, kid.
This is coming to Alaska.
You are? Seriously? Oh my, that is fantastic. Are you kidding?
No.
Oh man.
Didn't realize we'd actually bought a ticket for him too. Yeah, and they flew out to Alaska.
And I learned right away, like, oh man, I love Alaska. This is an amazing place.
And specific areas you like too. Like I could
Yeah.
live here. I could
go
live here.
and I could go here. But remember, this was in the winter time. There was still snow everywhere. And while we got to learn about Alaska and see how amazing it was not, looking back, a great way to actually go
Property
shopping. I didn't know it at the time, and we'll tell you how this story ends. I was already making a really big mistake shopping for property with snow on the ground. And we'll tell you why at the end of the story, because it would have been a huge disappointment. So we get out there, we're shopping around, we're looking at properties, and we're finding, we're going north and south, and each day we would drive like 5 hours and go check out a different property, and we had snowshoes and we were wading through the snow, and just like, I remember one day we were hiking like 2 miles back with snowshoes on, and my one snowshoe broke, and I had a little bitty zip tie on it, and I was just thinking, like, 2 miles back, if this zip tie snaps, I'll die out here. Now, we had spent a lot of money on this trip. Plane tickets, car rental, food, Airbnbs. They were thousands and thousands of dollars. Did we spend
I don't
10,000?
think, not that much. But
It was close.
But it did make it feel like we have to find the property on this trip because we can't afford to take another trip.
Do you
out.
remember I would call you every day with like how'd we do? What did we look at? Where did we see? And with every day going by more and more, you're starting to feel like, oh man, are we gonna find it? Has this been a huge waste? It was getting bad, and we were getting to the very end of the trip. One of the last properties we looked at, we drove down this road. We're on the road system. We drove down this road. And it was actually an on-grid home, and it had a couple other little cabins on the property. It was, I think, 4 acres off of the road, but it was a nice little house and we could fit, and it had a nice little property, a couple cottages you could rent out for some income. And I got excited. I thought, you know what? This is the one. This is it. This is what I'm here to get. I actually got in the plane home thinking, we got our property. We were putting together our formal offer. We were getting the paperwork signed. And you started asking me a couple questions.
So there were just a few things that kept popping up to me that, oh, well, that's not great.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
I don't
started
like
to get some
that.
red flags.
The day we were going to make the offer, both of us stopped and said, maybe this isn't the right one. Let's just wait and see.
And it was real. I remember at the time being super disappointed. Because it meant we had spent all this time and all this money, and we had nothing at all to show for it. And I remember just thinking, both of us, oh, there it goes. It turns out, looking back, we learned later things that make us realize it was so good we did not get that property. Because you can't know everything there is to know about an Alaska property in the wintertime. This is a mistake people make, and in Alaska, it can really get you into some trouble, and it would have gotten us really a huge disappointment. And we learned that like later when we went back to Alaska for the Off-Grid Challenge. One of the people that we met while we were traveling around Alaska for the Alaska Off-Grid Challenge was Bill.
Always wanted to go to Alaska.
Yep.
And now I have a friend saying, come up with me.
Like, come on, you gotta go. You gotta go.
I had to stick that for sale sign in the window, and I went, and I loved it.
I got together with him and I interviewed him about buying land in Alaska because I wanted to know what are the mistakes people make and what's the right way to do it. We'd already made some mistakes, and Bill confirmed this when we talked. One of the first things Bill said is, don't shop for land in the wintertime.
One of the things I tell people, never buy land without actually walking the land in the summertime. I did not do that.
So Bill made a, would you say that was your first mistake in the land buying process?
You should not ever buy land in Alaska without walking it in the summertime. However, I got lucky.
Oh, nice.
I got real lucky. I moved to Anchorage, and I lived in Anchorage for about 10 years. But Alaska, the state, sells a lot of land. They had a lot for sale right in the middle of one of the big recreational areas in Alaska. And I waited till almost the end of the auction, and I put in a bid, and I got the land. I got 5 acres at that time, and it was right in the heart of a major recreational area for like snow machining, four-wheeling, even some hunting and that type of stuff. So I lucked out and got an excellent piece of land.
The reason you suggest that people don't do that,
Right.
what can happen if you buy property without seeing it, without walking it in the summer? What are people going to wind up getting that's a problem, unique especially to Alaska?
Perfect story. A neighbor of mine was looking at buying a couple 20-acre lots off of one of the state agencies that was selling land on like the various mapping programs and stuff. Looks like an amazing piece of property. I warned them, I'm like, we have to go and walk it. Don't put in a bid until we walk it. We went out and walked it. It was a treed swamp on the side of a hill.
Wow.
The whole 20-acre property was literally a swamp on a slope. I don't know how that happens, but it does in Alaska.
So Bill warned us about the mistakes you don't want to make. Make sure when you're buying land, you don't go in the winter because you never know what you're going to find in the summer. Bill actually suggested that you see your property in different seasons.
The other thing I always tell people is go in the summertime, check out the land, and check out the mosquitoes. There's places in Alaska that there isn't hardly a mosquito and it's all swampland around. And there's other places in Alaska that you and I barely could see each other from the mosquitoes. I mean, it is literally that bad. It's a fog around you.
And the best advice he gave was spend some time in Alaska. Actually, while you're shopping and learning whether or not you want to move there, spend some time there. It's what Bill did before he moved to Alaska. And it's what we did with the Alaska Off-Grid Challenge.
I always suggest to move up to Alaska, live in Anchorage, Fairbanks, Wasilla, Juneau, one of the populated areas, rent for a year. And during that year, plan on doing a lot of trips. Travel around, get to know some people, talk to some people, and find the area that you want to live that suits why you want to be in Alaska. If you want to be out in the middle of nowhere all by yourself, there's areas better for that than other areas. If you want to go snow machining and four-wheeling all the time, there's areas better for that. If you're an avid fisherman and you want to fish all the time, well, there's areas better suited for that. So move up to Alaska, give yourself a year or two, rent like in Anchorage or one of the populated areas. Plan that year to be going out and exploring all year long. If you find an area you think that works, make sure you go in the summertime several different times. Make sure you go in the wintertime several different times so you know what you're getting into and does this really suit why I want to be in Alaska and what I want to do on my property and things like that.
So thankfully we took Bill's advice, and that property we had almost bought in the wintertime, we went back to in the spring, well, in the summer. Because my gut said, I don't like the road setup of the house, and that was totally on point. It was too close to the road and a through road and lots of traffic.
But
also something that wasn't even on our radar.
right, because you hadn't seen it in person,
No.
so you got to see it. But the big thing that we would have never ever known if we had bought the property in wintertime and not seen it in the summer. Alaska's snow doesn't go away. When it snows, there's like 3 feet of snow and it doesn't go away till the springtime. So a lot of things can be hidden in the snow. When the snow melted, we saw that the property right across the street was a junkyard. Just like Bill literally said this. He said, like, you never know, your neighbor you could come when the snow melts and find a junkyard, and like that's exactly.
It was a junkyard, and it didn't show up on Google Earth even because we had looked all over. It wasn't until the snow melted where it all like was obvious.
Revealed junkyard neighbor. We went out, we stayed there for the Alaska Off-Grid Challenge. We made a lot of friends, we had a lot of connections, and we told a lot of people, like, listen, if you find out about something or if something's available, let us know, we're looking. And then we were really, really patient. We didn't rush it. When finally something did come up, it was someone that we knew, that we trusted. So right away we were like, oh, this is a good source, this is a good potential property. We were able to ask that person to get us a lot of information, enough where we decided it would be worth then flying out and seeing the property. And although that meant more money spent to go what?
Oh yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
The more money. The eyebrows were for more money. Yeah, like more money that really hurt.
Yeah,
to have
every
to spend
time.
again.
Oh, do we really have to go see this in person? Do we really want to? But because we'd experienced so much, and Bill really was like adamant. He was like, go to the property in the summer, put your feet on the ground, go and see it. We decided, you know what? Let's do it. It'll be worth it. One of these days, it will actually be the right property, and it will have been worth the time and the money to go and see it and make sure it was right for us. And so we did. So I thought Bill's advice was really, really helpful. We actually have an extended version of that interview with Bill in the Pioneer Library. If you're a Homesteady Pioneer, you can have access to all the extended interviews, extended podcasts, and videos in our Pioneer Library. Bill talks about moving to Alaska, shopping for property. He talks about homesteading in Alaska, livestock. There's a lot of really, really great stuff in that interview. So we'll have a link in the description of this video to my interview with Bill in the Pioneer Library. And if you want to check out Bill's YouTube channel, go give him a follow and say hello from the Homesteady audience. Click here to go see Bill's channel and learn more about homesteading in Alaska.